Thank you so much for joining this lesson. Today we're going to discuss Mathematics Paper 1, Section 1. Then later we shall be bringing to you the Section 2 of the same paper. This is a SCK Maseno South Diocese. We call it the MASSSA Joint Examination 2026. It's a very well thought out paper, and it's my hope that through this discussion, you guys are going to understand a lot. You're going to see a lot. You're going to perceive mathematics concepts in a wider perspective. So please follow keenly. Remember to subscribe. Remember to share so that you may invite a friend. If you have a friend in the same secondary school as you, please invite them. If you have a friend who is even from a different secondary school, bring them on board. Let them also benefit. As you invite them to the YouTube channel, remember also to invite them to our interactive classes over the holiday, one-on-one via Google Meet. We are offering mathematics, the sciences, and also the languages. This is the best platform. Google Meet is very interactive, and through that, you're going to meet fellow learners, experienced teachers, and you shall come out with the best. So please welcome and invite a friend. Our number is already on the screen, so you can use it to enroll to our programs. Number 1, the length equation uses the formula 1 out of f equals to 1 over u plus 1 over v. And u equals to 150, v equals to 300 millimeters. Without using mathematical tables or a calculator, determine the value of f. So one thing that you're supposed to understand in this case is that we can start actually by making f the subject of the formula. In this way, from the right hand side, we can start with the LCM. You know, we are having already 1 over f as being equal to, now we combine this uv, becomes our LCM. So uv divided by v gives us v. Okay, we divide by u first, we get v times 1 plus uv divided by v, we get small letter u. So u like that. At this point, can we cross multiply? When we cross multiply, it shall be f into v plus u equals to u times v, because uv is multiplied by 1 at the cross multiplication level there. At this point now, we can remain with f alone, whereby we shall say then f equals to uv out of v plus u, like that. So now that f has been made the subject in the formula, it will be very easy for us to work out. It will be very easy for us to work out. So here now we need to say f is given by 150 multiplied by 300. Then this is divided by the sum of 150 and 300. 300 and 150. At this point now, we should be able to say that 15 times 3 is 45. Then we add 3 zeros, so 45,000 out of, when we add 300 and 150, we get 450. So now dividing this becomes very easy, because 1 0 can cancel in advance. Then by 45, 1 by 4500. So the value of f, look at that. the value of f when u equals to 150 and v equals to 300 without involving the calculator or the four-figure tables anywhere is exactly 100 millimeters. Number 2, the sum of the interior angles of a regular polygon is 1,260. Calculate the size of each, look at that, each exterior angle of the polygon. This is a very good question from Angles and Polygons. Those who are following us for the first time, we remind you to subscribe. We remind you to comment on this particular platform. Let us know whether you are learning something. When you get something new, please comment, I am learning. We are waiting for this comment. I am learning. Then you can quote the sayer of that particular comment. Tell us, I am learning. Then you say, maybe Kelvin from a Nairobi school. Just an example. Yeah. So please comment that you are learning from this platform. We are checking number 2. Look at it carefully. You know, the sum of a given number of interior angles, depending on the number of sides of the polygon, is given by 180 into n minus 2. In this case, n minus 2 is the number of triangles. 180 is the sum of angles in one triangle times the number of triangles, or rather number of sides minus 2, which gives us the number of triangles. So we are already given the sum as 1260. This should be equal to 180 into a known number of sides minus 2. Okay, to make it simple, you know, instead of dividing through by 180, allow me operate with the level of average learners who will tend to open brackets here. Like that. Then remain with 180 n at that point. Then take 1260 and add 360. This gives us 1620. How do you remain with n? You divide through by 180. This gives us exactly 9. So the number of sides equals to 9. The number of sides equals to 9. After getting the number of sides, there are several ways that you can use to find the size of each exterior angle. And I want to take you slowly. One way that you can use to get exterior angle is to say that the sum of exterior angles is usually 360, regardless of the number of sides. So, because this is a regular polygon, all the exterior angles are equal in size times their number, so that you get the sum. So 9, which is n, multiplied by the size of each exterior should give us 360 degrees. So to remain with the size of each exterior, then we take 360 and we divide by 9. This gives us exactly 40. So each exterior angle is exactly 40 degrees. Alternative working, you can also say this, we are already given the sum of interior angles, and we have known the number of sides in this particular polygon, meaning that we can get the size of each interior. Each interior can get each interior angle shall be the total 1260, and there are 9 of them. So when you take 1260 and you divide by 9 angles, you'll get 140. So in this particular regular polygon, each interior angle is 140. then we know that interior plus exterior should give us 180. If this one is known, then now we can say 140 plus the unknown exterior should give us 180. How shall you remain with E, the exterior angle? 180 minus 140, giving us exactly 40 degrees. So that question at that particular stage of proceeding to find the size of each exterior angle can have those two approaches. Comment that I am learning. Remember to comment. Looking at number 3, and this is a question from indices, an index equation actually. Okay, so let's work it out. You see, we are having some composite numbers here, like 8 and 120. When you look at a composite number, okay, a number like 2, it's prime. So 2 cannot be broken down to any other factors. So we now aspire to express this composite number 8 to the base of 2, the least base possible according to every equation. So for this equation, we put the composite numbers to base 2. But now when we look at 120, 120 cannot be put under base 2. So what do we do in such a case? We say that first 8 is the same as 2 power 3. So now we're talking about 2 power 3, and there is already an existing power of x plus 1 minus 2 power 3 x minus 1. This is a minus 120 equals to 0. Yeah, minus 120 equals to 0. According to the product law of indices, these powers can be multiplied here so that we have 2 power 3x plus 3, then minus 2 power 3x minus 1 minus 120. This is equal to 0. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, allow me apply the multiplication law and also the division law of indices. I'll write the two laws here. We're supposed to remember this, that whenever we have a raised to a given power multiplied by the same base to a different power, we simply take the base and the two powers are added. That is the first law of indices. There is another law that says a raised to m divided by a power n. This is solved by taking a, then the two powers are subtracted. That's how we use the multiplication law and the division law of indices. Two laws. So allow me apply the two laws at the same time, whereby I say, for these two powers to be added this way, it means then there is 2 power 3x multiplied by 2 power 3, then minus 2 power 3x. And because there is a minus 1, then it means 2 should be divided by 2 power 1. Minus 120 equals to 0. So 2 power 3, that is 8. Then 2 power 3x minus, we have 2 power 3x out of 2 minus 120. This is equal to 0. So one thing that you can observe is that 2 power 3x is appearing 2 times. 2 power 3x is appearing 2 times. So can we let 2 power 3x to be a different unknown, which can even be t, so that now this expression is rewritten. We rewrite our equation such that we have 8, the value of t, minus the value of t over 2 minus 120 This is equal to 0. Okay. Can we combine terms together? You know, t over 2 means half t. So 8 minus half, because we have to group terms together now, becomes 7 and half, or 7.5 t. Minus 120. The 120 can go to the right hand side and become positive. So t equals 2. Now we pick 120, we divide it by 7.5. This gives us exactly 16. So t equals to 16. What had we let to be t? What had been let to be t is 2 power 3x equals to, instead of t now, according to this, instead of t, we are having our 16 there. 2 power 3x equals to 2 power 4. Yeah, 2 power 4 equals to 16. Meaning that because the bases are now the same, then we can equate the powers. 3x equals to 4. And to get the exact value of x, then should say that x equals to 4 over 3. So that, yeah, we are dividing through by 3. So that now the exact value of x equals to 1 and a third. Yeah, 1 and a third. Remember, you can also write that as 1.333 recurring, which can be summarized as 1.3 and a dot above the 3, like that. So those are the two exact values of x, 1.3 recurring or 1 and a third. Remember, when you leave your final answer as 4 over 3, you shall be denied the final answer mark. So you can't get a final answer mark if your answer is an improper fraction. You're supposed to conclude your answer very well. Please comment that I am learning. Number 4, a rectangular picture is 30, it's a picture frame, 30 centimeters long and 20 centimeters wide. Then a picture of area 459 square centimeters is centrally placed inside the frame, leaving a uniform margin length of x centimeters. Find the dimensions of the picture. Find the dimensions of the picture. Allow me start by sketching this information, then we proceed to interpret. You know, we are having a frame here. Rectangular. This is a rectangular frame. Then inside the frame now, we are going to mount a certain photo or picture, such that it leaves a uniform margin x centimeters. So the picture now is going to be put inside centrally, such that the margin, the uniform length, is left throughout this frame. So now we're going to talk about the original length, 30 centimeters, original length, 20 centimeters. Something else that we're supposed to know is that we have now a length of x. At this point, we have x. At this other point, we are also having x, meaning that now for the picture itself, it shall be, you know, the total for the frame was 20, but now we are subtracting x and x on the lower side. So it is 20 minus x. 20 minus x. So the length of the picture itself is 20 minus 2x, sorry, because we are subtracting x from either sides. Yeah, 20 minus 2x. Then because of this x, remember the length is uniform. Because of this x and also x on this other side, then the inner length is going to be original 30 minus 2x. This is the width, 20 minus x. So now the area of the picture is given as 459. So how do we get area when a shape is rectangular? Length times width. So length 30 minus 2x times 20 minus 2x. This is supposed to give us area, which is equal to 459, like that. So can we find the value of x? 30 times everything in the second bracket, then negative 2x times everything in the second bracket, like that, equals to 459. Can we expand? This is 600 minus, this is a 60x minus 40x. Then this becomes positive, eh? Yeah, positive. Negative 2x minus 2x, so that is 4x squared. This is equal to 459. We can now group terms together, or rather arrange this particular equation. I can see there is a power 2, so it's likely to be quadratic. Can we start with 4x power 2? And the terms with x are negative 60 and negative 40, giving us negative 100x. Then we are already having 600, and 459 should be negative now on this side. So we get negative. No, we get positive. It's 600 minus 459. So positive 141. This is equal to 0, like that. So we have our quadratic equation. This quadratic equation can be solved. And remember, there are very many methods of solving. Now that I'm teaching Form 4s and Form 3s, to solve a quadratic equation, we can use any of the 3 basic formula. We can use the quadratic formula, we can use the factorization method, and we can use the completing square method. So we can prefer which one? The formula. The formula says that the value of x is given by negative value of b, then plus or minus. We take the square root of b squared minus 4ac, then everything out of to the value of a, like that. So we can proceed to use this formula. Let me use the space at this point. Use the space at this point. So negative 100. You know, value of b is negative 100. So minus negative 100. That will be positive 100. Negative, eh? In case it was positive 100, we would have introduced the negative. But now we are introducing a negative where there is already a negative. Plus or minus the square root of b squared. When you square 100, you should get 10,000 minus 4 into a, which is a 4. You see there are 2 4s there. 4, which is a constant in the formula, and a, the value of a is a 4, like that. Then c is 141, like that, out of 2 multiplied by the value of a, which is a 4. X shall be 100 plus or minus. Let me multiply first. 4 times 4, then times 141. This is 2256. So 10,000 minus 2256. I'm getting 7444. So the square root of 7744, sorry. Everything out of 2 times 4, which is 8. X equals to 100 plus or minus, the square root becomes 88 out of 8. So now we can find the two possible values of x. X is going to be either 100 plus 88, that is the first option of the square root over 8, or 100 minus 88 over 8. 188 over 2, giving us 94, or 100 minus 88 out of, that gives us 12 over 8, exactly 1.5. So x can be these two values. If x is 94 or 1.5, you can look at the diagram that we are dealing with now. So the value 94 is too big. This one now is too big. So now we operate with x as 1.5. That is now making sense because you can't subtract from 30, you can't subtract 94 times 2. From 20 centimeters, you can't subtract 94 times 2. It will be a negative length, and that will not make sense. Therefore, the question is dimensions of the picture. So the picture which is inside now is measuring 30 minus 2 into 1.5x by the width, which is 20 minus 2x, which is 1.5. So this now shall be, what is 30 minus 3? Is it 27? What about 20 minus 3? Is it 17? So 27 by 17. Those are the dimensions of the picture. You can confirm using your calculator. 27 times 17. We will get the area exactly as 459. Yeah, 459 that way. So number 4 is a very good question. If we are together up to that point, kindly comment that I am learning. Comment that I am learning. Tag your school, tag your county. Let's know where you're coming from. We are very many here. We come from different places. Please let us know where you come from. I'm sending my success greetings to the candidates of 2026 and the pre-candidates, that is the Form 3s of 2026. Thank you so much for following up. Number 5, 2 metal rods of length 300 centimeters and 360 centimeters are cut into equal pieces, and each piece sold at 250 Kenya shillings. Calculate the least amount of money that can be realized from the sale. One thing that you're supposed to know is that these rods are going to be divided into equal pieces. So there is a certain length which can divide fully 300 and also divide 360. So that particular common length into which they can be divided should be the greatest possible divisor of the two, the GCD, greatest common divisor. Which length can divide both of them equally? That is what we shall find first. So in number 5, we work out the GCD of 300 and 360. After getting the GCD now, I shall tell you the next step. Yeah. So we start with 300. We're also having 360 here. So the first common divisor in the two numbers is 2. We usually start with the least. So that the least gives us 150 here, then 180 on the other side. We can see they are still divisible by 2, but we get 75 and 90. Because of 75, which is not even, 2 cannot continue dividing them. So can we advance to 3 now? So that we get 25. 90 divided by 3 is 30. Is that okay? 90 divided by 3 is exactly 30. Because of 25, which is not divisible by 3, we can't continue dividing by 3. So we choose another common factor, 5. When we divide by 5, this becomes 5, and this becomes 6. 5 is already prime, so we can't get any other common factor. So the greatest common divisor of 300 and 360 is 2 times 2 multiplied by 3 times 5. This is exactly what? 12 by 5. It's exactly 60. So the common length into which these ones can be divided into is 60 centimeters. Now, when you divide into 60 centimeters, ladies and gentlemen, there is the number of pieces which will come from the first rod, number of pieces from the second rod. So from 300 centimeters, shall be 300 divided by the size of each rod, we get 5 pieces to be divided into 5 pieces. From the other rod, which is 360 centimeter long, we get 360 out of 60. We get 6 pieces. So total pieces that can be obtained, 5 from the 300 rod, 6 from the 360 centimeter rod, we get 11 pieces. So the 2 rods can be divided into 11 pieces. Now, each piece is being sold at 250. So calculate the least amount of money. Amount of money shall be 11 times each. 250. 11 by 250 gives us 2750. Kenya shillings. So that is the total amount of money which will be obtained from selling the pieces of rods that are obtained from the rods provided there. A very good question again on the application of GCD in real life situations. Please comment that I am learning. If you're learning something, you can imagine now the one-on-one classes. The one-on-one classes which are starting from 13th to the 24th of April, 2026. Please enroll through the number which has been written here. Remember, yes, our number is here. Remember, in the month of August, ladies and gentlemen, in the month of August, we shall have examiners sections, examiners bench. Here we shall invite examiners, NEC examiners, to take you through all the learning areas and subjects in preparation for KJSEA and also KCSE. Actually, you can invite your brothers and sisters in junior school. We got them covered. We're also offering mathematics, English, Kiswahili, and integrated science over the holiday. But now for the August holiday, we shall have NEC examiners taking you through all the learning areas, including the optional subjects. So our platform is going to be very accommodative, very extensive. You better join us. So please use our number, which is already on the screen, so that you may join us and experience a turnaround in your academics. Remember to subscribe to this platform. Remember to share the link so that you may invite your friends from all over. Thank you. Thank you. Comment if you are learning something. Number 6 now. Solve for x in the inequality 6x minus 1 over 3 less than 3x plus 2 less than or equal to 3x plus 15 out of 2. Hence, list all the integral values of x that satisfies the inequality. This is what we call simultaneous inequalities. You can extract the first and the second. The first inequality starts from the first term all the way up to the term just before the second inequality. In other words, the middle term here is shared. The middle term here is usually shared by the first inequality and the second one. So the first one runs up to that point. Then the second one, because it has also to cover the middle term, it now runs from 3x all the way to the last part. So the first inequality to be extracted should be 6x minus 1 out of 3 less than 3x plus 2. This is the first one, and we can simplify it. Can we multiply by 3 both sides? Look at it this way. We multiply by 3 and also by 3. So that now it cancels from this side, and we have 6x minus 1 less than 9x plus 6. Grouping of terms together. Grouping of terms together. When we start grouping these terms together, you see we shall be talking about 6 and 9, whereby the x can come to the right-hand side. 9 minus 6 to give us 3x. Then we are also having negative 1 and 6. The 6 here should be subtracted on the left-hand side. So minus 1 minus 6, giving us negative 7. To remain with x, we divide through by 3. So negative 7 over 3 is negative 2.333. Yeah, negative 2.333, like that. So that is the first inequality completely simplified. We can extract the second one and also simplify it. So the second inequality is starting with the 3x plus 2 less than or equal to 3x plus 15 out of 2. Now with this, we can talk of multiplying by 2 both sides and also by 2 there, so that this now cancels out. With that, we can talk of 6x plus 4 less than or equal to 3x plus 15. Grouping terms together will give us a 3x because of 6 minus 3 here. Then less than or equal to, we are having 15 minus 4. 15 here, the 4 should be subtracted. That gives us 11. So to remain with x, 11 over 3. This gives us 3.666 recurring, so 667, like that. With all this now, can we say that the values of x, because x is less than or equal to 3.667, and x is also greater than negative 2 point. So the values of x then can be grouped together. You know, this is recurring. And the 6 here is also recurring. So that is a compound inequality. or one statement that summarizes now the two solutions. So now ours is to state now the integral values. You know, they sometimes become very easy when they are being extracted from a number line. When you're extracting them from a number line, it becomes very easy. Very easy. So look at 0 at this point, then 1, 2, 3, 4. -1, -2, -3, -4, like that. So now this inequality is ranging from -2.3, -2.3 should be somewhere here. That is -2.3, all the way to 3.6. And 3.6 is inclusive like that. So now using this number line, we can identify the values of x that satisfy the inequalities. Remember, you're supposed to know what integers are. Integral values comes from the word integer. These are positive and negative, all numbers 0 included. So when it comes to integral values, we don't count zeros. We don't count decimals and fractions. So here we can talk of, within this range, we talk of -2, we talk of -1, we talk of 0, we talk of 1, we talk of 2, we talk of 3. The technical bit of this question is where the second limit here is inclusive. Look at that symbol. Less than or equal to, meaning that this limit is inclusive. But now you're supposed to be conscious enough to know that that is not an integral value. It's not an integer. So we can't say 3.6 because of the inclusivity shall be listed here. No, you can't list it because 3.6 is not an integral value. It's just an inclusive limit, but not an integral value. So we can't, however, state it. We can't by any means state it. Please comment that I am learning. If you're learning, let me see that comment. Remember also to tag along your school, tag your classmates, and invite them. Number 7, ladies and gentlemen. The capacities of two similar containers are 5.4 liters and 25 liters respectively. Look at this. Two similar. The word is similar there. The difference in their heights is 40 centimeters. Calculate the height of the larger container. One thing that you're supposed to know is that a capacity is a three-dimensional quantity. Capacity together with volume, together with density and mass, they are three-dimensional quantities, so they give us what? Volume scale factor. So capacity, let me just give you that summary. Capacity, the ratios from capacities, the ratios from volumes, the ratios from mass, the ratios from density. These ones are three-dimensional quantities, and they usually give us volume scale factor. Now that we have the two capacities, then why can't we proceed and find volume scale factor? So volume scale factor of the two containers shall be, okay, we can start with the larger over the smaller. So 25 over 5.4. 25 out of 5.4. Okay, we can also inverse that. Sorry. Sorry. Let me inverse. We can even have the ratio of the bigger one, the smaller over the bigger. There's something I've seen. This is giving us 0.216. This is now volume of the, okay, the ratio of the volumes, capacities, giving us volume scale factor. Meaning that for us to get area scale factor, not area, sorry, height is one-dimensional. Height is a length, one-dimensional. So we need the linear scale factor, which is usually obtained from the third root of volume scale factor. When you obtain third root of volume scale factor, you get linear scale factor. It's exactly 0.6. So linear scale factor, 0.6, 0.6, like that. Or other, it can be 6/10, which is 3/5. So the linear scale factor is 3/5. So when we get the height, for example, one of the linear measurements is the height, the radius. When we talk about the height of the smaller out of the height of the larger, we get 3:5. Or other, we can even use what we call ratios. We can convert this scale factor into a ratio statement such that height of the smaller to the height of the larger is 3:5. That way, 3:5. I don't know whether we are together there. So the two heights are in this ratio, 3:5. Now there is difference in their heights. That is what has been given, difference in their heights. So we have the two proportions here, which are different. So how are the two proportions differing? 5 and 3 are differing by two proportions. So it is the two proportions difference which brings about the height difference of 40, such that we can say two proportions are the ones that correspond to 40 centimeters difference in length. What about height of the larger, which is equivalent to 5 proportions? This will be 40 by 5 out of 2, and this shall give us exactly 100 centimeters. So the height of the larger is 100 centimeters. You see, if we wanted height of the smaller, it would have been two proportions difference is 40 centimeters length or height. What about the three proportions for the smaller? So for the smaller, it shall be 40 by 3/2, which is exactly 60 centimeters. When you get 60 centimeters now, you see now, this is for the smaller, though it was not the question here. This is for the smaller. That's for the smaller. We wanted this one for the larger. So the question is already solved for the larger, but I was working out the second. So that now, you see, now we are supposed to end our working here, but I'm just proceeding to show you that the height of the smaller could still have been obtained. And with the two heights, you can confirm that 60/100 is giving us the ratio of 6/10, which is 3/5. So the height of the larger is exactly 100 centimeters. That's a very good question on, that is on similarities and enlargements. We are proceeding to number 8, ladies and gentlemen. A very good question on, this is on scaled drawings, specifically bearings. Now 3 pegs, A, B, and C, are on a level ground such that the bearing of B from A is 0.75 degrees, while the bearing of C from B is 135 degrees. The length A to B equals to 12 centimeters. B to C equals to 6 meters. Sorry, these are meters. Part A, using a scale of 1 centimeter to represent 1.5 meters, represent this information in a scale drawing. So let us look at a suitable diagram that shall help us to represent all this information. So we can identify the compass position here. Allow me raise a compass here, then I will say that this is the compass is at A, so that I mark the initial point at A. This is A. You see, we are given the bearing of B from A, which means A is our original point. A is our original point. Even if B is mentioned first, I want to give you this precaution. Even if B is mentioned first, A becomes our reference point because the position of B is given with reference to A. So we measure 75. Remember 0.75, that means true bearing. 3 digits and measured in the clockwise direction, strictly from the north. So from the north, we measure 75, ladies and gentlemen. We measure 75. Then this angle of 75, now we produce a straight line. After measuring 75, we produce a straight line. Sorry, I think that line is not very straight. Let me make it as straight as possible. Very straight and accurate. Yes, very straight and accurate. Now with this, we get back to the instructions. You know, there is a scale of 1 centimeter to represent 1.5. We have already measured 75 degrees here as the angle. So the other thing should be, the other thing is supposed to be identifying the equivalent length now on the paper to 12 centimeters, because from A to where B is 12. So usually divide actual distance by the length, actual distance by the ratio, sorry. Actual distance divided by the scale, 1.5. We get exactly 8. So we need to measure 8 centimeters now along AB. We measure 8 centimeters. Along AB, we measure exactly 8 centimeters. You put a mark there. So this is 8 centimeters. 8 centimeters like that. 8 centimeters are representing the 12 centimeters, the 12 meters. So again, we can raise a very perfect compass at that point. A very vertical compass should be raised at that point. This is our point B. Again, while at B, we are told that the bearing of C from B is 135. So true bearing again should be measured from the north in the clockwise direction. North in the clockwise direction, 135 here. You measure 135 like that, and you produce a line, a very straight line. Like that. Then again, you ask yourself something here. The distance from B to C is 6 centimeters. So it is 6 divided by the scale, 1.5. We get exactly 4. So this should be represented by 4 centimeters. So we measure 4 centimeters along that line. Exactly 4 centimeters. That is the point. That is point C. Remember, we can also connect C to point B. Allow me also raise a compass first. compass which is very parallel to the others, the compass at C. Then now we join B and C. We join B and C. We join B and C. We join B and C like that. You see the three places have now been represented. They have now been represented very well. Then from that, we find our part B that says we find the bearing of C from A. Bearing of C from, look at from. So we measure from A. So we check the line that connects B and C. And we measure, seeing a very straight line. We measure that angle from the north, the angle that connects A and C in the clockwise direction. This is giving us exactly 94 degrees. But remember, you are supposed to write it as 3 digits. That way. 0.94. So that you may show it is a true bearing. It's also good for you to know that in the neck marking, we allow an accuracy of one angle. One angle. This is going to be 0.94 plus or minus exactly 1 degrees. So we can now talk of somebody with an angle of 93, another one with an angle of 95. They shall be considered to have done the right thing. So the accurate answer is 94, 0.94. For you to earn the mark, you're supposed to state it very well, 0.94, not just 94. Yeah. It's also good for you to know that you can give a bearing using an acute angle, what we usually call the compass bearing. From the south, you measure the acute angle here, and you consider that you're moving to the east. So the acute angle there shall be 86. So when you write from the south, 86 degrees towards the east, this is also a correct bearing because the examiner just said bearing. They didn't specify it is compass bearing or true bearing. This is true bearing. This is the compass bearing. A very good question. Kindly comment that I am learning. I'm also learning from myself. This is a very wonderful presentation. Looking at number 9 now. In number 9, we are told this, that the figure below represents a square table mat. The mat is divided into 16 equal squares as shown. All right. Now shed 3 squares on the mat so that it has a rotational symmetry of order 2. Order 2 means that for every square to get back to where it is, it should just rotate through 180. It should just move once. So 360 over, the order is 2. So every should rotate through 180 with a reference center. Each of the squares should rotate through 180. So if we consider this one to be the exact center, and we are only supposed to shade 3 squares, so let's consider the squares that have already been shaded. So we have to join this one to the center, then it has already been rotated to the other side. So this one is done. It's already rotated to the other side. You know, rotating through 180 means when you connect to the center, you just move an equal distance to the other side. So that one has already been rotated. But this shaded one has not been rotated, this one here. So it is already in contact with the center. So moving to the other side now becomes very easy. It now becomes this one. it becomes this one. Like that. What about the other one at this point at the corner? So the one at the corner, again, when joined to the center, let me do that. When joined to the center, then we move to the other side, it becomes this one. So we also shade this one. We also shade that one. Or we can shade using the same color. Sorry. Allow me use the black for the shades. It becomes this one. Yeah, like that. Then now we have another one here, which has not been moved to the center. So this one, when we move it to the center, ladies and gentlemen, when we move it to the center, or we can, when we move this corner to the center, then we move an equal distance to the other side, that corner becomes this one, meaning that then the box shall be this one. So by the end of the exercise, you can see we have already shaded 3 boxes such that the rotation in the mat is 2 order, or order 2 of order 2, like that. So if you twist the mat again through 180, every box will get back to its original position. So that is the assignment in number 9, a very good question. Comment that you are learning. Looking at number 10 now. Number 10, we are told this, that a right-angled triangle ABC is such that the acute angles ABC and ACB are 3x minus 25 and 2x plus 10 respectively. Given that the length AC equals to 3.6 meters, determine first the value of x, and in part B, the length of the hypotenuse BC. So BC is an hypotenuse. Allow me sketch this information kindly. BC is an hypotenuse. So if A is at this point, then B should be here and C at this point. You can see BC is the hypotenuse now. Yeah. So the angle at C, which is acute, and the angle at B, which is also acute, are given as 3x minus 25. The one at B is 2x plus 10. So finding the value of x means, you know the two acute angles, this is already 90. So the other two should give us 90. So that the angles inside add up to 180. So 3x minus 25. When we add 2x and 10, we're supposed to get 90. Grouping terms together, 3x and 2x gives us 5x. Negative 25 becomes positive on this side. Positive 10 becomes negative on the right-hand side. 5x equals to 90 plus 25 minus 10. This is exactly 105. So that the value of x now shall be, we divide through by 5, and this gives us 21 degrees, like that. 21 degrees. Then in part B, what have we been told? That the length of the hypotenuse BC should also be calculated. BC should be calculated. So you will allow me now write specific angles. The angle at C, so that we may work out part B with a lot of efficiency. The angle at B equals to 3x minus 25. So 3 into 21 minus 25, that angle shall be 38. The angle here is 38 degrees. Again, the angle at C. The angle at C equals to 2x plus 10. So 2 into x 21 plus 10. This is exactly 52 degrees. So this is 52. The other one is 38. So those are the acute angles. Now the length of BC should be found to one decimal place. AC, which is here, is 3.6 meters. So for us to find the length of the hypotenuse, we are supposed to apply trigonometric ratios, either sine or cosine, because sine and cosine are the ones that involve, they are the ones that involve the hypotenuse. You remember the acronym, SOHCAHTOA? This to mean what? Sine is given by opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is given by adjacent over hypotenuse. So sine and cosine use the hypotenuse, the two of them. Then tangent is given by opposite over adjacent. So we can now specialize with the two which use the hypotenuse. Now, if we use 38, then 3.6 is adjacent. So we apply cosine. If we use 52, 3.6 is opposite. So we use sine. So can we say the sine of 52 degrees is given by opposite length out of the unknown hypotenuse? We can let it to be x. If we cross multiply actually, you discover that x times the sine of 52 should give us 3.6 times 1, which is just 3.6. To remain with x, we need 3.6 divided by the sine of 52 degrees. Now that we have a calculator, it should be 3.6 divided by the sine of 52. We are getting exactly 4.568. But remember, it's supposed to be rounded off to 1 dp. So 4.6 centimeters. So 4.6 is the hypotenuse. It's also good for your general knowledge to know that when we have two complementary angles, the sine of one is usually equal to the cosine of the other. What do I mean? The sine of 52 should be equal to the cosine of the acute angle, which is complementary to 52, and that is 38. So whether we used 38 with cosine or 52 with sine, we just end up getting the same thing. So even if you choose 38 to apply cosine, you will end up getting the same answer. I hope now you can recall very well that if alpha and beta give us 90 when we add, then it implies that, it is implying that sine of alpha is the same as the cosine of beta, given that the two are acute angles. That is trigonometric ratios of complementary angles. Trigonometry 1. If you are very careful in your Form 2 work, you can remember that. Comment that I am learning. Number 11. Number 11. We discussed number 11 now. A two-digit number is such that the sum of the digits is 11. Now, when the digits are interchanged, the original number is decreased by 45. Find the original number. Find the original number. We can let this two-digit number, let the two-digit number be x, y. From the first statement, the sum of the digits is 11. So when we simply pick x and we add the next digit, which is y, we are supposed to get 11. This is the first equation. Can we proceed? Can we proceed to equation 2? When the digits are reversed, you see now, when you reverse the digits, the new number become yx. Can we talk about values of the number now? Values of the number. So the value of this number, because y is in the tens position, it's 10y plus x is in ones. So that's the value of the second number. What about value of original? Original number, it is x that was in the tens position. So it is 10x plus y, which is in ones position. So we have the value of the new number. We have the value of the original number. Look at the statement now. When the digits are reversed, the original number is decreased by 45. It's decreased by 45. It becomes smaller by 45. So we can say that the original number minus 45 should give us the new number. The value of the new number is equal to the original number minus 45. So now we can group a few terms here to have an organized second equation. So 10x and x becomes 9x. Y and negative 10y, because it is on the other side, equals to 45. Because 9 is common, you see this equation can simplify still. By 9, we get x minus y equals to 5. This is our second equation. We can now solve the equation simultaneously. You see, we are having the first and the second. See? So we can solve using elimination method since the coefficients of x are the same. So when you subtract corresponding terms, it shall be x minus x, y minus negative y, it becomes 2y. This is equal to 11 minus 5, which is 6. And the value of y shall be 3, because we divide through by 2. Now, if we have the value of y, can we find the value of x? Using equation 1, x plus y, we should get 11. So x equals to 11 minus 3, we get 8, meaning that the original number, which is starting with x, then y, should be 8, then 3. Yeah, 8, then 3. So 83 is the original number. 83 is the original number. This is a wonderful question, I tell you. This one is a very good question. If you understand, kindly comment that you are learning. Let me check something using my calculator. When I pick 83 and I subtract the new number after reversing the digits, interchanging the digits. So 83 minus 38, I'm getting 45. I'm getting 45, meaning that reversing this number reduces the original by 45. It reduces the original by 45. So that is how we work out number 11. We can check number 12. Number 12 is here. We can read number 12 together, then we solve it together. The question says this, that the entrance of a tunnel is in the shape of a major segment. Now, the base width of the tunnel is 8 meters, and the vertical height of the tunnel is also 8 centimeters. 8 meters, sorry, these are meters. Look at the measurements there. 8 has been given as the width of the tunnel, and also the vertical height, cm, has been given as 8 meters. Also calculate the area of the entrance. We all know very well that area of a major segment is usually given by, this. Assuming there is a center there, you discover that to this center O, we can join to A and also join to B. So you can see there is a triangle and a major sector. So area of a major segment, let me just give this summary. Major segment is usually given by major sector, and we add triangle. The two areas now shall give us the total area of the major segment. There are a few things that we are supposed to agree in this particular question. And one of the things is that from A to M, let me change the color even. Let me use green. This is 4, then this is also 4. Are we in agreement there? Thank you. If we are in agreement there, allow me also say that we can complete this circle. We can also complete this circle. So allow me have it complete so that I may come up with some other conclusions. Good. So if we complete the circle like that, then we introduce a certain unknown length. You see this point C, so allow me call this one point D. So from M to D, we can call it X. Then we can say the diameter of this particular shape, the diameter, I'm going to use all this space because the question is very demanding. So yeah, I can say the diameter of the whole circle, the original, which is a CD, is going to be 8. The height, which is the vertical height, plus the X that I've just introduced. X like that. We can also talk about the radius now. You know, radius is usually, it can be OA or OB or OD or OC. That's all radius. Radius is given by diameter over 2. Diameter over 2, which will be 4 plus half the value of X. Let's agree up to that point. So we have the radius. Okay. So now, if the radius is known, ladies and gentlemen, can we also say that we can come up with the length from the center to M, to point M, yeah? From the center to point M here, because this is right anchored. Can we come up with that length from the center to M? From the center to M, the length OM now requires a radius minus X. It requires radius minus X. And radius has already been expressed. So we subtract X from the radius so that we remain with O up to M. This now, the length OM shall be 4. Half x minus x becomes negative half x. So with all this now, with all this, allow me now come up with some relation here. You know, OA is radius, which is a 4 plus half x. Then vertically, we are having OM, which is also 4 minus half x. Then horizontally, we have A to M, which is 4. So applying Pythagoras theorem at that point, we can say that the radius squared, which is a 4 plus half x. When we square this, because that is the hypotenuse, we're supposed to get 4 squared plus the vertical height also squared. Now that is 4 minus half x squared. That is Pythagoras theorem. Now after applying Pythagoras theorem there, we can now expand where possible. So 4 plus half x squared means 16. Plus, see 4 times half times 2 becomes again 4x, then plus a quarter x now squared. This is equal to 16 plus, we expand now the brackets, that becomes 16 minus 4 times half times 2, that becomes minus 4x plus a quarter x squared. Now we can group terms together. Grouping terms together means 16 and 16. You know, when you take them to the same side, they shall cancel out. But 4x and the 4x, which is negative here, when we take it to the left-hand side, it shall be added. So that becomes 8x. That is clear. Then we can say a quarter x squared. And on the other side, there is a quarter x squared. That becomes a 0. And on this side, we are remaining with 16. So the value of x is exactly 2 because we are supposed to divide through by 8. The value of x is 2. When the value of x is equal to 2, when the value of x is equal to 2, can we now conclude that diameter equals to, can check diameter. Diameter shall be exactly 8 plus 2, which is 10, meaning that radius should be 5 centimeters. Okay, meters, sorry. 5 meters. 5 meters, because radius is 4 plus half x, and x is 2. So half of 2 is 1. 4 plus 1 is 5, or rather diameter over 2. So we have radius and we are having diameter. So can we agree now that the length from the center O to point M is now, which is here. See, the radius from O to D is 5, but x, the x that we had let to be here, the x at this point is 2. So the radius is 5 and this is 2. So we get 3 at this point. So we can agree that, we can now agree that the radius is 5 centimeters and OM is exactly 3. Yeah, exactly 3, like that. And this is right angled. So for us to proceed, we can first work out area of triangle so that we proceed to, you know, after triangle, we can talk about, after triangle, we can talk about the sector. We can't talk about the sector without angles. But find triangle first. For the triangle, we need half multiplied by the base is 8 and the vertical height is 3. So for the triangle, I'm using the base AB and vertical height OM, which is exactly 3. So this is going to be 4 by 3, which is 12 square meters. So for the triangle, area is already calculated. Now for us to work out the major sector, we need the angles. Now angles can be found through many methods. We can use trigonometry. We can use area of the triangle because this is 5 and this is also 5. And we need the angle at the center here. We can find it using trigonometry. Yeah, trigonometry. So we can find it using formula for the triangle of the area. Half 5 times 5, sine of the angle in between the two 5s to give us the area of 12. So allow me to say that there is an angle here. You know, this one I've already named it center O. So we can say this, using triangle OAM or OMA, can say that the angle at this point can be called alpha. And because 3 sides are known, we can use any trigonometric ratio. Any trigonometric ratio can be used because the 3 sides are known. So can we say that the tan of alpha, equals to the tan of this angle should be opposite length, which is 4, out of adjacent length, which is 3. So if that is tan of the angle, then the angle itself shall be the tan inverse, shift tan 4/3. Then you type that one into your calculator. Shift tan 4/3. This gives us exactly 53.13. What about now, after getting that small angle, what about the whole angle AOM? What about angle AOM? Shall be 2 times 53.13. This becomes 106.26 degrees. Now, after finding that angle, can we find now the other angle? Because we are dealing with the major sector now. Then we cannot use the angle. We cannot use the angle on the inner side. So now we can use the angle which is on the other side for the major sector. Please make sure that you understand what I mean at that point. Please make sure that you understand. I want to draw it very well. You know, we are supposed to deal with the reflex angle. So please check here. I'm talking of major sector, meaning that we are supposed to work with this angle, which is a reflex angle. So we need 360 minus the inner angle that you have gotten, minus the obtuse angle that we have. So 360 minus 106.26. This gives us exactly 253.74. Now this is the angle that will be used to find the area of this sector. So major sectors area shall be beta, the angle at the center, 74, sorry, over 360 pi Are we given pi? Not really. So we can use 22/7 times radius squared, because the area of a sector is theta over 360 pi r squared. That is area of a sector. Theta over 360 pi r squared. Being a major sector, we use the major angle. So at this point now, we can compute now. We can compute and say, we can compute and say this, 253/360 multiplied by 22, which is over 7, multiplied by 5 squared, which is 25. This is giving me 55.38 square meters. That is area of the sector. So total area of the major segment, total area shall be sector plus 12. When you add 12 to this, you get 67.38 square meters. Yeah, 67.38 square meters. So that is the area of the tunnel, the entrance of the tunnel. It's a very involving question. It requires a student to have serious understanding on trigonometry. We've even involved expansions here, quadratic expansions. I know it can be approached using other methods, but please accept my approach, and you can also give it alternative thinkings and come up with a different working. When you come up with a different working, please ensure that your answer is 67.38. Any working that will give you a different answer, then that working is wrong and you are also wrong. Otherwise, thank you for following. Remember, please, to comment whether you've learned something in the process of handling number 12. Write, I learn. Write that I am learning. This is the best platform for secondary school students, for junior school students, and for anybody that wants to know mathematics. Are we in number 13 together now? Please remember to enroll. Our YouTube channel is the best. You can subscribe and support our programs. But remember that over this holiday and the holidays to come, there shall be programs one-on-one via Google Meet, very interactive. Then to climax everything, in the month of August, ladies and gentlemen, we have examiners bench, examiners sections, whereby we shall invite experienced examiners, people who have been handling neck papers for the longest, people with experience and passion, people who shall lead you into understanding the structure of every paper and every tip that you need in responding to the questions that you will meet in KJSEA and KCSE 2026. All the best as you continue practicing. Remember, we have a schedule also for the junior school. We invite you all. Please don't forget to reach out through our number so that we may enroll you. Talk to your guardian, talk to your parent, and be part of the great Shifting Grades online school. Number 13. Now the vectors A and B are illustrated in the diagram below. Calculate the magnitude of 2A plus half vector B. It's a very good question, and I want us to explore it step by step. Step by step. All right. Since we are given the vectors already drawn, we can check what do we mean by 2 vector A. 2 vector A. Let's check that. Vector A is within, look at this, 2 vectors horizontally, 2 vectors upwards. So we can introduce 2a, we can draw another vector like that, so that we have 2a. Yes. So the whole of this vector now, from this point to that point, that is 2 vector a, like that. So we have 2 vector a. Then what about half vector b? You see vector b is a 1, 2, 3, 4 units. 4 units to the right, then 1, 2, 3, 4 units downwards. 4 units downwards. So when we talk about half of this vector, then it means 2 units to the right, and instead of 4, 2 units downwards. So that is the meaning of half vector b. So at this point now, we can talk about 2, which is 1, 2, then downwards 2, 1, 2. So when we move like that, we will have gotten half of vector b. So we install it there. This is half vector b. Half vector b has been attached there. So with this now, we can say now the vector, we are starting from 2a all the way to half b. So this is the vector now. This is now the vector 2a, and we have added half vector b that way. So that is now the line. That is the line. When we talk now about magnitude, we mean the length. So the length of this vector now can be worked out this way. The length of this vector can be worked out this way. How many units do we need on the x? These are 6 units. How many units do we have vertically? These are 2 units. So for us to get the magnitude of the vector, now we are supposed to use Pythagoras theorem, whereby it shall be 6 squared plus 2 units squared. Then we obtain the square root. We obtain now the square root. So this will be 36 plus 4, the square root of 40. So this shall be, this is 4 times 10. Yeah, the square root of 4 times 10. The square root of 4 is known, but the square root of 10 is not known. So we can write 2 root 10, that is in SADs. Can express it in SADs. That is the value of the magnitude of vector 2a plus half vector b. We can also find square root of 40, so that you write 6.325 to 4 significant figures. You see, there were no units, there were no instructions about the accuracy that we give our answer, no specific significant figures, but you should ensure that your answer is 4SF at least. So 6.325 units to 4SF. But remember, this is the accurate answer. This is rounded off to 4 significant figures. So the answer is 2 root 10 or 6.325 units. Remember, this question can be done in an alternative approach. Allow me give it an alternative approach. We can talk about a vector. We can talk about vector A. What is vector A? What are the units in vector A? Allow me now clear so that I may take you through an alternative. Instead of using the diagram, can we talk about vector A being 2 units, 2 units. So vector A as a column vector is 2, 2. Then vector B as a column vector, with B here, This is we start with the X. So horizontally, we have 4 units. 4 units. And now, vertically, we are moving downwards 4 units. So when we are moving downwards, you give it a negative 4 units. In case it was upwards, we would have taken it as positive. So 2 vector A and half vector B. This is what it means. Can we have now 4, 4 after multiplying A by 2? Then this becomes a 2, that is a 4 by half. Then this becomes negative 2. So that now this becomes 6 and this becomes positive 2. So you see, at the end of the day, we are having 6, 2. Then to find magnitude, we need 6 squared plus 2 squared, then the square root. And we'll find ourselves at the square root of 40, whereby we'll get 6.325 units. So this question can be done in that particular alternative approach. It's a very good question. It's a very good question. And you can see it's having alternative approaches. So please, yeah, you can consider working it out that way. It depends on the general understanding that you have on vectors. You can work it out in very many approaches. Comment that you are learning. If you are getting something in vectors, comment that I am learning. Remember to attach your name. Let us know where you are coming from, which is your school. Please quote that great institution that has made you who you are. Yeah, recognize your institution in our comment section. Let us know where you're watching us from. Number 14, 2 towns R and S are 245 kilometers apart. Now, a bus traveling at an average speed of 60 kilometers per hour left town R for town S at 8 a.m. A truck left S for town R at 9 a.m. and met with the bus at 11 a.m. Determine the average speed of the truck. We are given the average speed of the bus, but that of the truck is not given. It is what we are finding. This is on relative speed. The topic is linear motion. So allow me first start interpreting this information diagrammatically, of course. Then we proceed now to solve the question. We are already having 2 towns. One town is R. The other town is S. Yeah. Now the total distance is 245. Then at 8 a.m., a bus is leaving R towards S at a speed of 60. Then a truck is leaving S at 9, and the time at 9, the speed is unknown, and this is 1 hour later. You see, the bus started 8 a.m., but now the particular truck is starting at 9, meaning that before the truck left town S for R, the bus has already covered some distance. So distance covered by bus by 9 a.m. This distance shall be, distance is generally given by speed times time. Speed times 1 hour. It has been moving for 1 hour from 8 to 9, 60 kilometers. So by 9 a.m., when the truck is starting, the bus has already covered. This is at 9 a.m. The bus has already covered 60 kilometers. Yeah, it didn't stop anywhere. That's our assumption. Meaning that now there is a remaining distance. By 9 a.m., when the truck is starting its motion, there is a distance between the two vehicles. 245 minus 60. The distance is 185 now. So the distance between them, by 9 a.m. is 185. So these two vehicles are going to cover the distance jointly for them to meet. So they have to narrow down the distance of 185 to 0, meaning that they are covering the distance jointly, and the relative speed for the two vehicles, because they are approaching one another, should be speed for the bus 60 and speed for the truck x. That is the speed in kilometers per hour. So this is the speed they are using. Some of their speeds. When vehicles are approaching one another, we add the two speeds. So relative distance, which distance now is being covered by the two vehicles jointly? 185 kilometers. What about the relative time? The time they shall take to cover the relative distance between them using the relative speed. From 9, they are going to meet at 11. So this is 2 complete hours. 2 complete hours is the relative time that they shall use. Can we agree that distance, as mentioned earlier, is usually given by speed times time? So with this understanding now, can we say the relative distance was covered at a speed of 60 plus x multiplied by the time they took to cover that distance, which is 2. You can use any other expression. You can express the speed using distance over time. You can express the time using distance over speed. So how shall we remain with the value of x? 185 equals to 120 after opening brackets, and 2x. So can we remain with 2x? Can we remain with the 2x? Yeah. So 185 minus 120, we get 65. What about the value of x? We divide through by 2. We get 32.5. So speed of the truck speed, which had been let to be x. It is what we let to be x to add here. Track speed has now been discovered. 32.5 kilometers per hour. 32.5 kilometers per hour. That is the speed which was used. It's a very good question. Very, very good question. So if you have understood something on linear motion, relative speed, to be very specific, please comment that I am learning. Type I am learning on the comment section. Then we check number 15. See, number 15 is on a commercial arithmetic. There is no way you can do a mathematics paper, a full mathematics paper, whether paper 1 or paper 2, and you fail to encounter commercial arithmetic. It is not normal. These are some of the topics that must appear, whether commercial exchange rates, as we can see, whether commission, whether percentages, losses, profits, and discounts. Commercial arithmetic must appear. Whether commercial arithmetic 2 in paper 2, it just has to appear. So please equip yourself in commercial arithmetic. Number 15. Number 15. Are you ready to learn? If you're ready to learn, type I am learning. Number 15. A businessman intended to buy goods worth 25,000 US dollars from Japan when the exchange rates were as given below. So 1 US dollar equals to 120.85 Kenya shillings. 100 Japanese yen equal to 83.93 Kenya shillings. I'll just start, even before I get to the exact question, allow me give further interpretation of this. Let me now simplify the rates for you and give them differently. Allow me give them differently. See, $1 US, that one is okay and properly stated as equal to 120.85 Kenya shillings. Then on the other side, if 100 Japanese yen equals to 83.93, what about 1 Japanese yen? 1 Japanese yen, so that you don't get confused later. 83.93, you divide by 100. So if 100 Japanese yen are equivalent to 83.93, then 1 Japanese yen shall be equal to 0.8393 Kenya shillings. Yeah. 1 Japanese yen. So the rate of 1 Japanese yen now makes it simple because we were given 100 Japanese yen. It's good to simplify. Calculate the value of the goods to the nearest Japanese yen. Now, because US dollars are not connected to Japanese yen directly, then we have to pass through the Kenya shilling. So we say 1 US dollar equals to 120.85 Kenya shillings. What about when the US dollars are 25,000? This would be 120.85 times 25,000. So in Kenya shillings, the value of these goods shall be 120.85 multiplied by 25,000. 25,000, yeah. This gives us 3,021,250. So that's the amount in Kenya shillings. Now this amount in Kenya shillings should now be converted to Japanese yen. And you can see we are saying that Kenya shillings 0.8393 is equal to 1 Japanese yen. 1 Japanese yen. What about when the Kenya shillings are 3,021,250? This should be 1 times 3,021,250 over 0.8393. So how many Japanese yen? 0.8393. When you divide there, I'm getting 3 million. 599,725.96. See, these are millions, okay. Thousands, then 725.96 Japanese yen. Japanese yen. So that is properly worked out. Whenever you are given the rating, when they are more than 1 unit, please remember to convert it so that you get the rate per unit. With that, you will never go wrong. If you're learning something, please comment that I am learning. Give us your name and your school name and your institution. Number 16 now. And please remember to subscribe to this channel. Remember also to share the link with your friends. Number 16, triangle PQR is such that PQ equals to 12 centimeters and the base angles P and Q are 48 and 55 respectively. Calculate the area of the triangle correct to 1 decimal place. Will you allow me kindly sketch? Allow me sketch this information. Let me make it a diagram. Okay. Let me make it a diagram. We are making this one a diagram. Yeah, this is P, this is Q, this is 12. Okay. Yeah, this is 12 centimeters. What else do we have? The base angles at P and Q are 48 and at Q 55. These are degrees. So this angle at this point can also be found. We take 180 and we subtract the other two, 48 and 55. We shall get exactly 77. Yeah, that is 77 degrees. Up there, that is point R. So to find the area, you know, we need at least two sides and an angle between them. So can we talk about the side PR, which can be named small letter q, together with PQ, and the angle between them is 48. So now we can use, first of all, solution of triangles, which is under trigonometry 2, the sine rule. The length, small letter q, out of the sine of the opposite angle to this letter q, which is 55, should be equal to, if we take the length 12 and we divide by the sine of the angle opposite to 12, that is 7. Yeah, like that. So we can, to remain with q actually, we multiply both sides now by sine 55. So 12 sine 55 out of the sine of 77. Okay. So q equals to 12 sine 55 out of the sine of 77. This gives us exactly 10.09. 10.09 centimeters. Now with that length, you know, now we are having two sides and an included angle, 10.09. So we can say area, which is generally given by half, two sides. The two sides can be A and B. Sine of theta, which is an angle between them, can be given by half. One side 12, another side 10.09. Sine of the angle between the two sides, which is 48. So now we can compute this. We are having a half times 12 times 10.09 sine of 48. This is exactly 44.99. 44.99 centimeters squared. But looking at the question closely, we are being told to calculate the area of the triangle correct to 1 decimal place. So to 1 decimal place means this. So 1 decimal place is there, and the value after 1 decimal place can increase the 9. So it makes this one a 45, and to remain with a 0 here. So 45.0, you must have the 0.0 so that you stick to the accuracy which has been demanded here. If you have known something from number 16, please type that I I'm learning. Yeah, type that I am learning. Then I invite you to our model for purchasing airtime. For any network, you simply need to go to the M-Pesa, Lipa na M-Pesa. The pay bill number is already on the board, 737356. Then the account number after you've entered the pay bill should be the number that you intend to purchase airtime for. Could be Safaricom, Airtel, Telcom. Just enter the number. Then proceed to enter the amount. You complete your transaction and the airtime shall be reflected instantly. So please try our approach. You can also purchase airtime for your friend, whereby you use the same pay bill number. Then the account number is the number of your friend that you're purchasing the airtime for. You follow the same procedure and the airtime shall be reflected instantly. So thank you so much for following. Remember to subscribe. Remember to share so that you may invite a friend. Thank you so much.